The forgotten technician Lina was not a soldier. She was not a captain. She was just a human technician working in the lower decks of Xeron Station 7, a floating hub owned by the Zarnathi Empire. Every day she cleaned grease from broken pipes, welded cracked power cores, and rewired engine circuits no one else wanted to touch. Her hands were always black with oil. Her uniform was always patched. Most of the officers didn't even remember her name. "She's the human grease rat," they whispered. Lina didn't argue. She just did her job, quietly, carefully, perfectly. But something strange happened one cycle. A small cargo shuttle was towed in for repairs. The outer hull was burned, and the engine core was melted halfway. The pilot had vanished without a trace. Most engineers refused to touch it. "Leave it," said the shift supervisor. "No one's claiming that junk." But Lina couldn't stop. Looking at it, something about the damage was too precise. That night, when everyone else had gone, she returned to the bay. She climbed into the cracked engine compartment, shining her headlamp into the mess. That's when she saw it. A blinking red light hidden inside the burnt cables. It wasn't part of the shuttle's standard design. It was a transmitter small, old, and human-made. She leaned closer. A weak signal was looping again and again. Unit 47D. Code Ghostfire. Listen before they come. The message repeated in broken words. Lina stared at the device. Her fingers trembled. This wasn't just a power failure. This shuttle had carried a message, and someone wanted it buried. She carefully unplugged the transmitter and hid it inside her toolkit. Then she made the shuttle look even more damaged, welding over the signals compartment so no one else would see. Her heart pounded as she walked back to her small room. That night, she couldn't sleep. Who had sent the signal? And who were they? Next morning, Lina reported for work as usual. But she noticed something odd. One of the alien officers, Lieutenant Kraft, was missing. He had signed off on the damaged shuttle the day before. Strange, someone said. He just vanished from his quarters last night. Maybe he skipped out, another replied. Or maybe the humans got him. They laughed, but Lina didn't. She remembered Kraft staring at the shuttle just before she returned to it. Had he known? Was he the one who found the signal and paid the price? Lina felt a chill. She returned to her workshop and locked the door. Inside, her toolkit, the small transmitter, blinked again. This time, the message changed. Find the second link. Engine 12B. Before they erase it too. Her eyes widened. She worked on Engine 12B just 2 days ago. It powered an old Zarnathi survey shuttle, long abandoned in Bay 3. She grabbed her tools and headed there fast. The bay was quiet. Too quiet. No workers. No guards. Just dust and silence. She climbed into the engine access and looked deep into the core. Her fingers found loose panels, wires. And then something cold and metallic. Another transmitter. This one was fused directly into the engine's control module. It was older than the first. Human tech, but hidden inside alien machines. As soon as she touched it, her communicator buzzed. Unknown signal. A voice call, distorted, spoke directly to her. "You found us. They won't be far. Use the code. The stars are not safe." Then silence. Lina stared into the engine, breathless. Something was happening across the Empire. Someone had planted these signals. Someone had left them to be found by her. Why her? She wasn't important. Just a repair tech. Just another human. Unless. She pulled the device free and looked at the markings. Her eyes widened. There, etched into the metal, was a name. Lina Ver 2.1. Class. Signal Key Interface. It had her name on it. This wasn't random. She had been chosen, or maybe built. For this, *, code in the fire. Lena stared at the device in her hand, her fingers shaking slightly. Her name, Lenaver 2.1- was not just coincidence. Someone had placed that transmitter with her name engraved long before she found it. But how? She was just a technician, a human who barely got noticed on an alien-run station. She didn't have rank. She didn't have access to top-level files. Yet someone knew she would come here, and they had trusted her to find the signal. She locked the door to her workshop and opened the casing of the second device. Inside, she found a series of codes. Most were corrupted, but one part still worked, lines of old human programming. And something else. Encrypted passkey. Ghostfire initiated. Linking node. Fleet override access channel status. Dormant awaiting. Human confirmation ****. Her eyes widened. This wasn't just a distress call. This was a control key. Something old. Something powerful. And it was waiting for her. Later that night, Lena heard the alarm. Not the usual maintenance call. This one rang red. Emergency in Dock Bay 3. Fire detected. Unknown cause. She rushed to the window. Dock Bay 3 was the exact bay where she found the second transmitter. Now it was on fire. Flames poured from the walls. Security teams ran toward the blaze, but it was too controlled, too sudden. Not an accident. A message was being sent. Someone knew. Lena had been there. Someone was trying to erase the evidence. She stepped back from the window, her heart racing. They were watching. Whoever they were already moving. And now, so must she. In a shadowed hallway far from the main decks, Lena met the only person she trusted, Varro, a half-machine maintenance bot she had repaired months ago. Everyone else considered him junk. But Lena had reprogrammed his mind to learn, think, and protect. Varro, she whispered, do you still have access to the old ship logs? Access. Limited. Purpose? The bot replied in his static voice. I need everything related to the word Ghostfire. Varro beeped twice. Then, slowly, he turned his glowing eyes to her. Ghostfire Project. Classified Terran Protocol. Created for total command override of ancient defense fleets. Creator. Unknown. Last known user. Deceased. Current valid user. Lena V. ER 2.1. She froze. Me. Varro nodded once. You are not just a technician, Leno, he said. You are the last living command key. The next morning, Lena received a message on her private comlink. Encrypted. Unmarked. Just one line. Stop digging. This is your final warning. No name. No location. But the threat was clear. She ignored it. Instead, she went to the station's archive terminal. The top levels were restricted, but she used the passkey from the transmitter, surprisingly. It worked. A locked file opened. It showed a diagram of T-class hidden fleet stations buried across forgotten parts of the galaxy. Each one linked to a core signal network called Ghostfire. Ships with no captains. Weapons with no orders. Dormant. Waiting for a human. Key. Waiting for her. She downloaded the map onto a data chip and hid it inside her glove. Just as she turned to leave, the lights around her flickered. The hallway behind her filled with smoke. Security bots rolled in, black and armed. Unauthorized data access. Intruder detected. Her heart pounded. She turned and ran. Alarms blared across the station. Lena dashed through the mechanical shafts, places only she knew. Crawling between old pipes, avoiding scanners, she reached the engine bay where her small private shuttle was hidden. She had built it from scrap. It wasn't fast, but it had one special thing. A secret drive core she designed herself. One that didn't leave a trail. As the bots closed in, she activated the engine. The bay doors opened. Her shuttle blasted into space, silent and unnoticed. while the Empire searched for her on the wrong side of the station. Out in the dark, Lena breathed. She was alone now, on the run. But she had something. The Empire didn't. A map got the truth, and a spark inside her heart. She wasn't just fixing engines. Any more dots, she was unlocking a hidden fleet, and the galaxy had no idea what was coming next. Asterisk. Running on instinct, the stars stretched endlessly around her as Lena drifted through deep space. Alone in her patched-together shuttle, she didn't know exactly where she was going. She only knew one thing. Don't stop. Behind her, the Zardathi. Empire was surely hunting her now. After what she downloaded, after what she discovered, they would never let her return alive. But Lena wasn't afraid anymore. She had something more powerful than fear, now purpose. Her shuttle was small just. Big enough for her. A toolkit and a single drone. The walls were made from scavenged metal. The thrusters groaned when pushed. The lights flickered now and then. But inside that little craft lived a fire that couldn't be seen. As she stared at the map pulled from the Ghostfire device, one thing stood out. A blinking star dot pulsed slowly. Not red like a warning. Blue. A signal. A call dot. It was one of the hidden fleet locations marked as Unit Echo 7. Far beyond known travel routes. In a dead system. No active records. Just the words. Awaiting command input. She took a deep breath, then changed course. The journey took days. She avoided patrol lanes, slept in short shifts, ate ration bars, talked only to her old drone Varro, whose voice now sounded more tired than mechanical. Approaching Echo 7 coordinates, Varro said at last. Lena sat up, heart pounding. Ahead, a broken moon floated in silence. Cracked in half, lifeless. Around it, fragments of old metal drifted like bones. Nothing here, she whispered. But then something moved. From behind the moon, a shape emerged. It was huge, long, covered in dust and forgotten war scars. Hull was black with patches of silver and ancient Terran markings. A warship. No lights, no life signs, but alive in some other way. Lena's shuttle computer beeped. Terran command link detected. Welcome, Operator Leniver 2.1. She stared at the message. She didn't even press a button. The ship had recognized her, automatically, like it had been waiting all along. She carefully docked with the giant ship. As she entered through a side bay. Her boots echoed on steel floors untouched for centuries. The air was dry, but breathable. Emergency lights flickered dimly. No crew. That's just machines sleeping in their shells. Her voice echoed. Hello? No answer. Then a voice spoke calm and soft, not mechanical. You have arrived. Welcome back, Lena. She froze. Who are you? I am Echo 7's core. I was built to serve the Ghostfire command system. I've waited for a human key. Lena's heart pounded. How long? 213 years. She looked around, stunned. Why me? Your DNA, your neural patterns. You are part of the design, a descendant of Ghostfire's final creator. Lena's knees almost gave out. She wasn't just chosen. She was connected. For hours, she walked through the ship. Every hallway woke as she passed. Lights blinked on. Systems came to life. Engines began humming softly. She reached the bridge, dusty, dark dot at its center. A single chair faced a wall of black screens. She sat. The room lit up instantly. Before her, dozens of dormant ships blinked onto the display. Other units in the fleet. Silent, hidden, waiting for a signal. Would you like to begin fleet activation, Lena? The voice asked. She didn't know how to command fleets. She had never led a battle. She was just a technician. But now, she was the only one who could bring them back. And somewhere out there, the Empire thought she was already dead. She smiled. Begin activation. Asterisk, the fleet in hiding. Lena sat alone on the command chair of Echo 7, staring at the screen in front of her. All around her, systems were waking up. Machines that had slept for centuries now moved again, responding to her presence like loyal guardians returning to duty. She was no longer just a repair technician. She was now the key to something ancient and powerful. On the screen, a map of the surrounding sectors slowly unfolded. 12 hidden Terran warships lit up one by one, scattered across asteroid fields, black nebulae, and old battlefields. Each ship was listed under one network Ghostfire protocol. Most of them had no crews, but all of them were still functional. Begin remote activation, Lena said quietly. Command accepted. Linking fleet nodes. Across distant corners of space, engines flared to life. Lights blinked on. Weapons rotated for the first time in 100 years. The forgotten Terran fleet was waking up, not with sound, not with glory, but like ghosts returning to a world that had forgotten them. And at the center of it all, a human woman who once repaired engines alone in the dark. Meanwhile, in Zarnathi High Command, the panic had begun. Several listening stations near dead sectors had picked up something impossible. Human-coded engine signatures, ancient ship IDs, long believed destroyed. One officer screamed, "That's Terran. That's pre-collapse class." The admiral in charge looked pale. "That's not possible. Humanity doesn't have those kinds of ships anymore." But the data was clear. Ghostfire ships were moving, and they were moving together, toward Empire territory. Back aboard Echo 7, Lena connected to the primary fleet command system. Dozens of icons appeared on the screen, each one a sleeping Terran warship. Some were damaged. Others were buried in asteroid shells to hide their signal. She studied their names: TSS Obsidian Flame, TESS Horizon Breaker, TSS Warden's Fall, TSS Nova Mercy. Each one was armed. Each one still loyal to Ghostfire. Now, to her. She tapped her fingers on the armrest. "I need to test one." Testing protocol initiated. Choose a target. She opened a scan of a Zarnathi pirate base that had recently been spotted near a trade route. No civilians. Just raiders. Send. Nova Mercy. Launch confirmed. Minutes later, at the edge of a red dust belt, the TSS Nova Mercy uncloaked from its asteroid hiding place. The pirate base, filled with stolen goods and alien ships, didn't notice it until the last second. By then, it was too late. A single beam of white light fell from the ship's underbelly, clean, surgical, and silent. The base disappeared in a bright flash, erased from the map. Not a single raider survived. No broadcasts. No warnings. Just ... gone. Back on Echo 7, the results appeared instantly. Lena exhaled slowly. She had just ordered a strike, and it had worked. "Status report?" she asked. "Target neutralized. No trace left, no human loss. Ghostfire protocol functioning at 96%. Varro, her drone, floated beside her. "You command well, Lena." She looked at him. "I didn't want this." "You were built for it," he replied. She didn't answer, because part of her believed that might be true. Suddenly, a new alert flashed on her screen. Incoming transmission, encrypted human signal, unknown origin. She hesitated, then opened it. A man's face appeared, worn, scarred, human. "If you're receiving this, you've activated Ghostfire. I don't know your name. I don't know your time. But if you're watching this, that means the Empire still lives. And that means ... you have a job to finish." Lena leaned forward, breath held. This fleet was not built for defense. It was built as a final answer. You are that answer now. Finish what they started. End it. The message ended. She sat there in silence. The fleet waited. The galaxy didn't know yet, but Lena did dot the repair girl from Deck 9, now held an army of the dead. And soon the Empire would meet every piece of forgotten steel it thought was lost. Asterisk. Ghost signals and burning skies. The message was short, but it echoed in Lena's mind like thunder. This fleet was not built for defense. It was built as a final answer. You are that answer now. End it. She stared at the dark screen. Long after the message ended, a voice belonged to someone long dead, but his words felt alive. And now, it was her choice. Would she just hide in the shadows with the Ghostfire fleet? Or would she show the galaxy what a forgotten human could do? Across space, strange things were happening. Ships began reporting phantom signals. Old Terran encryption codes. Frequencies long considered extinct. At first, people thought it was a glitch. Then came the attacks. Not full-scale invasions, just precision. Strikes. Pirate fleets that once operated freely in neutral zones vanished. Zarnathi. Patrol units simply stopped reporting. Entire bases destroyed overnight, without alarms, without survivors, without sound. And in every wreckage, the same message burned into the metal. Ghostfire protocol active. No one knew who was behind it, but one rumor spread fast. The Terrans are moving again. Inside the Zarnathi War Council, panic grew with each report. They are using technology older than our empire, shouted one general. This was supposed to be human scrap. No command, no power. The Emperor slammed his fist down. Then why are my bases burning? No one answered. Because no one knew. They had underestimated Earth. Again. And this time, the humans weren't talking. They were simply acting. Back aboard Echo 7, Lena walked through the command corridor, now fully lit and alive. Screens displayed. Fleet movements, power levels, supply scans. She wasn't just watching anymore. She was directing. A transmission request came in from a nearby colony. A Colonia, neutral mining station under Zarnathi control. They were begging for help. Lena opened the message. Please, we don't want to be part of the war. The Empire forced us to work. They took our families. We heard you saved others. If you hear this, help us. Her fingers hovered over the command panel. Send obsidian flame, she said. Coldly. Hours later, the colony was freed. No battle. No resistance. Obsidian flame's appearance in orbit was enough. The Zarnathi guards surrendered without firing a shot. The miners? They lit torches on the landing pads and spelled one word, using fire. Thank you, Lena. Watched it on the screen. It didn't feel like victory. It felt like responsibility. These people now saw her as a savior, and maybe she was, but far away. Something darker stirred. Inside a hidden Zarnathi outpost, deep in uncharted space. A secret project activated. Project Black Lance. Deploy the intercept unit, said a Zarnathi shadow officer. If Ghostfire is truly alive again, we'll end it with our own ghost. A new kind of ship launched from the black hangar. Sleek. Silent. Built for one purpose, to hunt. Lena and erase every last trace of the Terran fleet. Back on Echo 7, Varro hovered close. Lena, he said, more colonies are requesting protection. More sectors are calling for the Ghostfire fleet. She stared at the expanding map. One woman. One fleet. One decision. She whispered, send them. Varro blinked. Send who? All of them. Across the stars, ships unshackled their power cores. Engines roared. Weapons hummed. The sky above the Empire's borders began to burn with the fires of ancient warships long forgotten. And the girl, who once repaired engines, had become something unstoppable. Asterisk. The battle she never asked for. The stars above the border world of Veloskai glowed red. Not from sunsets. From burning ships. A Zarnathi Warfleet 40 destroyers. 10 dreadnoughts. and 2 carriers had surrounded the planet. Civilians below screamed for help, but no one answered until now. High above, a ripple broke through space. One by one, the ships of the Ghostfire fleet arrived. Black, silent, ancient. They didn't roar. They didn't flash. They just appeared. The war changed before it even began. Inside the command deck of Echo 7, Lena stood tall in her dark flight suit. Her hair was tied back. Her hands no longer shook when she touched the controls. She was no longer just a mechanic. She was now the fleet commander of a force even the stars had forgotten. Enemy vessels locking weapons. Varro said calmly. Lena studied the screen. Activate. Nova line. Bring Obsidian Flame and Warden's Fall to the left flank. Hold Horizon Breaker back as a surprise. Her voice was steady, cold, precise. The fleet moved exactly as ordered. No hesitation. No questions. They followed her like they had followed no one else in over 2 centuries. On the Zarnathi flagship, General Strax stared at his tactical screen. These are Terran ships, he hissed. But they're ancient. His second-in-command replied nervously. They're older than our empire. And they're not falling. Strax slammed his clawed hand down. Fire everything. Dozens of missiles screamed toward Lena's fleet. The sky filled with death. But the Terran ships didn't run. They didn't dodge. They adapted. Ghostfire systems rewrote targeting logic mid-flight. Human-coded AI disrupted missile guidance systems. Missiles exploded in mid-air. And then, Lena fired back. A beam of white plasma erupted from Warden's Fall, slicing through a Zarnathi destroyer in one clean line. 2 more enemy ships exploded seconds later. Ghostfire ships didn't fight. Like modern fleets. They predicted. They out-fought. They made Zarnathi ships feel like toys. And at the center of it all, Lena gave her next command. Turn their line. Break their middle. Show them what we were meant to be. Below, the people of Velosky watched the sky change color. From burning red to glowing white. From terror to hope. The people who were once left behind were now protected by a human with oil-stained hands and a fire in her voice. But the battle wasn't over yet. From the edge of the system, something new arrived. The Black Lance, the Empire's hidden weapon. A hunter ship designed with stolen Terran tech. Fast, quiet, deadly. It cut through space and headed straight for Echo 7. On the bridge, alarm screamed. Incoming threat unidentified pattern, Varro warned. Lena narrowed her eyes. Put all power to forward shields. The Black Lance ship fired a focused beam. It pierced halfway through Echo 7's shield, shaking the hull. Lena stood her ground. She had repaired ships with her bare hands. She had faced fire with a wrench. She wasn't going to break now. Send out drones, she ordered. Chase it. With every blade we have. From Echo 7's underside, a swarm of reprogrammed defense drones launched. They surrounded the Black Lance. Like a net of metal teeth. The hunter tried to escape. At DIDN single quotes T. 30 seconds later, it vanished in a flash. Target eliminated, Varro said. Lena leaned back slowly. She had survived. Again. The battle ended within 1 hour. What remained of the Zarnathi fleet retreated into deep space, burning, broken and humiliated. Lena didn't follow. She sent only one message. Next time, there won't be mercy. Back in orbit, her fleet held formation. They didn't cheer. They didn't play victory songs. They simply waited for her. And Lena, the girl who once fixed broken engines in silence, stood on a bridge of light, watching the enemy fade. She hadn't wanted this war, but now she was in it, and she was going to finish it. Her name echoes in stars. The war was over. At least, for now, the Zarnathi Empire had pulled back its fleets. Dozens of systems once ruled by fear were now silent. peaceful, watching. They didn't raise flags. They whispered one name. Lena. The name had spread faster than any. Fleet. Not as a general. Not as a queen. But as the girl who came from nothing and stopped a war. On a quiet green planet at the edge of Terran space, Lena stepped off a shuttle and walked alone through the grass. There were no crowds. No parades. Just a small group of workers, rebuilding an old colony Site 1 that had been lost decades ago during the first Zarnathi expansion. She sat on a broken engine block and smiled. She remembered this. Grease, tools, worn-out gloves. Here, she wasn't a hero. Here, she was just herself. Back in orbit, the Ghostfire fleet stood still above the planet. No longer hiding. But also not conquering. They were watchers now. Silent giants waiting for Lena's word. But Lena said nothing. She had already spoken through her actions. Elsewhere across the galaxy, her legacy grew. A statue was built on VELOZ-Chi. It showed a woman in a mechanic's suit, holding a plasma wrench in one hand and a star map in the other. The base read, "She did not lead for power. She fixed what others broke. She made us believe again." No throne. No army behind her. Just tools. Grit and truth. In the Galactic Forum, ambassadors debated how to deal with Earth's rise. Some feared Ghostfire. Others respected it. But no one dared challenge it. Because behind every Terran fleet, there was one lesson written into every hull. Never ignore the ones in the shadows. That's where legends are born. And Lena had come from the darkest part of that shadow. One night, back inside Echo 7's bridge, Varro hovered near her as she watched the stars. "Lena," he said. "New distress signal detected. Coordinates, Andrus Reach, small colony under threat." She didn't answer right away. She touched the screen, zoomed in on the signal. A small mining station. Just like where she once worked. A group of workers mechanics, like her, calling out into the void, hoping someone would listen. She nodded slowly. "Send help. Full fleet?" Varro asked. Lena smiled. "No, just Nova Mercy. That's all they'll need." As the chosen ship jumped to light speed, Lena leaned back in her seat and closed her eyes. She didn't need medals. She didn't want monuments. She only wanted to do what she always did best. Fix things. And across the stars, wherever something broke, her name would be the answer. End of story. From engine repair to Galactic Hero 1 Human Woman changed everything. HFY tale is now complete. A powerful, emotional, and action-packed 7-part HFY saga crafted to keep your YouTube audience hooked till the final second. Asterisk.